You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. You know, speaking to Laura and Louise first live in the studio. I've interviewed them a fair few times over the years, but it's the first time they're live in the studio, so it's great to have you here at BRFM. Welcome along.
Thank you very much,
Hello,
Daniel.
And I was wondering if we can start off by perhaps you telling us what Arts Transmission actually is.
I can, yeah. It's a project, it's a radio experiment which we've devised in partnership with BRFM, and it's going to be presented and broadcast through your Monday night radio show. And the experiment's been devised to inspire clubs, groups and societies to step out of their comfort zone and try something new. And so we're commissioning 3 artists to work with 3 Swale-based groups to make new art for the radio, for the airways, or to experience new art that is shared on the airwaves.
Now, this is part of Creative People and Places in Swale, and we've spoke to our listeners in recent times a little bit about it, but I was just wondering if you can give a refresher into what that actually is.
Yeah, Creative People and Places is an Arts Council funded programme which is designed to engage more people in the arts, and it's for Swale and Medway, and for those 2 areas it is the place of least engagement in the arts nationally, or one of the places of least engagement. So this project here has been inspired because we want to engage people in new ways, and that's across arts groups and non-arts groups, but we are particularly interested in working with non-arts groups.
You are from Francis Knight, or the company you are is Francis Knight, and I was wondering if you could kind of introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about that as well.
Yeah, we're called Francis Knight. There's 2 of us. There's Louise, Francis and myself, Laura Knight. We've been going for about 10 years. We're an arts consultancy, and we're very much about connecting people directly with art and artists. We have a wealth of experience. We're curators and project managers. We like to support the creation and development of artist-led projects, very much visual arts. And we want to create experiences that are unforgettable, that change attitudes and create meaningful engagement. And we always try and find the right artists to work on the projects that we work on.
So where did the idea for this project actually come from?
Well, as you know, Daniel, we've been working in Laysdown-on-Sea on Laysdown Rose Tinted, which you've been on the journey with us, really, for the past 3 years. And Creative People and Places was another project that we were invited to be part of a consortium. So we were kind of at the first stages of putting the bid together to get the Arts Council funding. And that's kind of some of the work that we're really passionate about, and we get involved in very local community work. And so for us, getting involved in Creative People and Places was a really important thing, and it continued our work on the island here. And we wanted to do a project with you, Daniel, as well, because we'd had such, you've followed us for the past 3 years on the other project, and what a great way to do something with BRFM. So for us, it was really about finding the right project to work with you and to do something for the radio station.
And I was hoping you can tell us who is involved with it.
Yeah, I can. I mean, we've approached 3 groups. Initially, obviously, we spoke to you, Daniel, about some of those groups that you interview pretty regularly on your show, on your Monday night show. So we're working with the Sittingbourne and Kemsley Light Railway, the Sheppey Horticultural Society, and Minster Golden Gloves, which is an amateur boxing club, which in fact we've just visited this evening. They're all based in Swale, and they all have very different passions, all volunteers that work on with these groups, and we're really looking forward to working with them.
But we thought we'd ask you a couple of questions, Daniel, as your involvement on this project.
Yeah.
It seems quite strange me asking you a question, but anyway, maybe you can sort of talk about your involvement really and how you've got involved in this project.
Well, yes, the first time I've ever been asked to answer the question as well. But yeah, I suppose I've become involved, as you said earlier, through working with Laura and Louise down on Laysdown Rose Tinted, and then Creative People and Places come along, which I got involved in, I suppose, as an artist, but also as interviewing artists in the community. And then, I suppose we worked together to set up this project.
I think that is a really interesting point, actually, Daniel, that you are an artist as well as a radio presenter, and this project really does bring those two things together for us, and then bringing the groups in as well. It seemed to just seems to fit quite well. We just need to find the right artists to work with those groups and to work with you.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of the nicer things. I've often interviewed other artists about their art or about what's happening in the community, and this is now a project that kind of crosses that bridge where we're working with artists who are willing to, but they're also making something for the radio, and it's a piece of artwork as well as a piece of radio art, really.
It has really opened up our eyes, and I think it has opened yours up as well, or our ears maybe, rather than our eyes, because there's so much work being done out there, so much work that artists are doing on the radio now. We're working with Resonance FM, who are an arts-based radio station in London, and they've been really interesting. But I know that, Daniel, you've also been along to some other things, haven't you?
Well, yeah, actually it's made me aware, because kind of radio stuff has been interviews, and of course I've worked with the Madelarks drama group where they've produced radio plays, and I've also worked with John Fryer, but I wasn't really aware of what else was going on out there, and I've come across in this project Radio Arts, and I went along to the Turner Contemporary, and they were actually doing a workshop at the time, so it gave me the opportunity to go along and see what they were doing and meet some other radio artists and meet other people who are interested in doing radio art, not just a literal interview. So it was all about the sounds, the people, and what could be captured on tape.
And what about, you've been up to the British Library as well, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, that was another interesting one. It was a good opportunity to meet some people from the Community Media Association, and also hear about how people are trying to preserve what's being put out there from community stations, and encourage community stations and people involved and people who volunteer for these stations to do something out of the ordinary. So it was a nice experience in that context.
I think what struck me as something we discovered while we were at the British Library, there's over 200 community radio stations nationwide, which was incredible, really. And when we went to the British Library, it was very much about archiving radio, which isn't really done, and except maybe through the BBC, and sharing it as well. So whatever comes out of this project, we would hope we would share through BRFM as well.
What actually is going to be happening next then?
Well, the next stage really is finding the right artists to work with BRFM. So we've invited proposals from a long list of artists, and they'll all be coming in to us towards the end of this week, and we'll start looking at them next week. So that's sort of the next stage.
We've also just commissioned a photographer to work with us, Simon, who's here but not speaking, and he's going to be documenting the project as it goes along. So he's been with us this evening down at the Golden Gloves. So that's kind of, we'll have some photographs really to sort of add some content to some of the information that we've got now. But it's just kind of the beginnings, really, exciting times really, to get the right artists, as Louise says, to work on this project.
And we'd hope that during maybe the next couple of months, those artists would come and be interviewed by you, Daniel, as well.
Well, yeah, hopefully that'll be the case, and hopefully we'll speak to Simon, the photographer, as well, and try and capture as much of it as we can, really.
Most definitely. I mean, we're all keeping open minds about this project, so who knows what's going to come out of it.
Well, Laura and Louise, I'd like to thank you very much for coming along this evening, telling us all about Arts Transmission yourself, and it's good to see you here at the studio and do a live interview with you as well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
That is Laura and Louise talking to us right here at BRFM on the Monday Night Community Show.